This is day 8 of scaling my AI agency to $100,000 a month. Current update on today, we are 8 days into daily recording. We're about 32 days into the actual agency of running it and scaling it. Still at $4,000 in revenue. We did some client follow-ups today. We hit up Boom. He was a guy that we had in the pipeline. We had a sales call with him on Saturday. Try to get him to re-engage. It looks like he's ghosting, kind of expected. I mean, he was doing about $5,000 a month revenue very early on in like business. So paying $2,000 for marketing didn't seem right in his head. Probably could have closed him on the call if I worked a little harder on it, but obviously we're living and we're learning. Did some market research today, kind of comparing the AV smart home niche, which I was talking about that we were going to go into. Obviously, we're looking to niche down and kind of take our expertise somewhere. I was listening to Hermosi today and he was like, you got to start niche, right? Really prove your expertise in that first niche. And then once you do it for enough people in that niche, you can start broadening your market as you get more proof, right? And just broaden it. And then at scale, we can just go for home services in general at scale, which I think is a big kind of market dominance opportunity there, especially with our business being called Blue Collar Growth Systems. We did some market research there, kind of comparing the AV niche. There's literally one competitor in that space that's actively running marketing for AV integrators. I think it's a very, very untapped blue ocean market. There's only one guy at least running Facebook ads for it, to my knowledge. There could be people that are using like different methods of acquisition, but I would say there's not a lot of competitors in that space. And it's not even that big of a market though at the same time. So I guess that's something that you can kind of keep in mind. But looked into that niche, saw all the potential there, but kind of deciding now that we have obviously someone that's already in the AV space. Our goal is to get them really good results and essentially use them as a case study to bootstrap that offer when the time comes, because I still think it is a very viable offer and it's a very untapped market and niche. And especially when it comes like the AI automation and AI system side of things, especially even with the Facebook ads, right? But I think it's a very untapped niche that we can tap into for pretty much any circumstance. But what we're thinking, we have direct proof correlated to landscaping in general. We generated $100,000 in 4 months without any proof or experience in our trade when we did landscaping. So, and that was all attributed to paid ads. So it's something we have direct proof in, something we know a lot about. So I feel like communicating that effectively with that niche is going to be a lot more effective when it comes to sales calls, content, advertising, even in the funnels, right? We're just more educated on that niche. And now that I look back, like this is a niche we should have been targeting from the jump because we had direct proof attributed to this niche. But I think we kind of got a little scared because January, it's like who's actively seeking out landscaping marketing services now. But now we're kind of moving into like the back half of winter, starting to kind of creep up on spring here. A lot of these guys do snow removal in the off season, so they should have marketing budgets and they should be ready and kind of looking to get ahead and getting ready for spring here, because that's really when everything just starts taking off. That's where they make a lot of their money for the summer. I was looking at some competitors, swipe files, saw a lot of stuff in the landscaping niche. There's a lot of people doing marketing with landscaping. I was listening to Serge Guittari today. He's doing like a challenge of building a one-person $1 million a month company. He did like a live stream, and he was talking about how red ocean niches are good, right? Because people are making money in that niche. That's why red ocean niches work, because people are actively making money in that niche. But if you go into a blue ocean niche and there's not a lot of people in there, it's going to be a lot harder for you to actually like get results. So like basically what he was saying with a red ocean niche, there's already people in the market that you can actively copy or at least kind of mirror their funnel and how they're actually getting clients. So there's a lot of market data for you to take and essentially build your own structure and funnel for it based on what you think is best. So I watched that today, and then we're kind of in this strategic pivot decision point right now. Obviously, I think we're kind of leaning towards the landscape niche and committing towards that. And then we're thinking about either doing a 2-call close funnel. I saw some people doing like growth map strategies where they essentially kind of see where their business is at, try to map out like a growth strategy for their business, and then they hop on a second call and essentially pitch them the offer. And it's a little more custom tailored, which could potentially be beneficial for us. What we're thinking for our revenue model is still doing the quarter up front, essentially. I guess it's not a quarter, it's a 3 months up front, so 90 days for an a specific price point. So probably looking around the boat of like 4,000, 6,000. We'll see what we start with landscaping, probably in the 4,000 range first, depending on how in depth we want to make our offer. Or we might just do a VSL call funnel based on the results we already have, which could still definitely work. So kind of just trying to figure out where that fits and then how we can make that work. And then we're kind of getting into the offer structure, trying to figure out what we can do best. Like I said, we want to do the 90 days for an upfront price and then get them on for a retainer after that point, and essentially structure in a, kind of upsell call, right? Like at the end of the 90 days, we hop on a call with them. We can either upsell them on something more like AI systems, maybe a different marketing solution, or we can continue working with them for a monthly rate, or they can renew for 3 months at a discounted rate, etc. Right? So that's kind of the plan there, because we want to keep the LTV high for a lot of the customers and clients we're working with. And then I was going to get into the VSL today, but I didn't want to rush this. Like I said, it was kind of a strategic day. We're kind of just thinking through what we wanted to do. Went on a walk, kind of more of a thinking day. I was going to be on the laptop. Like if you saw the last video, I was planning on just being on a laptop all day and building out the funnel, cooking everything up. And I was like, you know what? We're just going to take a step back. We don't have to rush this. We want to make sure we're coming at this from the right angle and we're doing this strategically and smart. Business owners, they think about things a lot before they do them. And once they have the green light in their head, then they execute. Right. So that's kind of what it was. Like we didn't necessarily have the green light in our head, because picking a niche is a big thing, right? Like you got to commit to that for at least a month. So we think the best move for us personally is committing to that landscaping niche, because we have directly attributed results in that niche ourselves. And we already know how to talk and communicate with that niche because we've lived it. So it's going to be a lot easier for us to actually gain clients from that and also do our marketing. Some key learnings from today is that red ocean does not mean opportunity. It doesn't mean no opportunity, I should say. So Serge Guattari was pretty much just saying that, like, just because a niche has competition doesn't mean there's no money to be made. The more people that are running ads is the more people making, like they're actively making money from that, right? There's demand there. I also learned like you have to niche down before you can broaden. So what we did initially was we were really kind of going for just blue collar home service business owners, not niche, right? Like that could be literally anybody, right? Our total addressable market is millions of fucking business owners. So we ended up getting a couple calls from that, but realizing like, hey, like we just really got to niche down. Like we just got to niche down, dude. And that's just going to help our ads and our targeting so much, because we can directly say a type of person and call them out so much more specifically in our advertising. So Meta can find us more of the people that we want to see our ads. And then I don't want to rush the funnel, the build, anything like that. I normally used to be the guy like that. We kind of don't have to rush. We kind of have bought some time right now. Kind of realizing that's a mistake, right? Because you gotta have the right research, have the right, vision, and kind of just like the perception of the market, understand what market you're trying to move into, the positioning, and then go through the build process, right? It's quality over speed for this specific process, because we want to get it right the first time. We don't want to speed run it and launch it and then like have to redo the VSL or redo the funnel or redo the ads. You know what I mean? So taking some extra time to make sure that it's diligent and it's working for what we're trying to do. Right. And another thing I saw too, which I kind of talked about in the last video, is like having an unqualified lead come in, right? Like we had a guy ghost, and that's what happens when you don't have a dialed in funnel. That's what happens when you're not directly speaking to a specific type of person. Like the guy that booked a call, he should have never been able to book a call. People that are making under $10,000 a month should not be actively seeking out marketing services, and they're not going to want to pay for marketing services. You know what I mean? It's like people just jump on a call and they think it's going to be free, right? Like that guy should have never booked a call. But it was a good learning session. And I'm kind of the guy where like I'll hop on any sales call. I just want to get better. Just kind of learning that unqualified leads waste time. So we want to make sure that a lot of the way we set up this funnel and structure this offer for this niche is we want to make sure that we're only talking to qualified people that at least have the money, have the time, and have the, courage to make that investment and actually want to grow. And then also realizing like strategic pivots are not failures, right? We went from broad to landscaping, right? So we were kind of considering smart home AV first, and we're kind of realizing like, yes, we could technically run that niche, but at the same time, we don't have direct results attributed to that niche. Right. We're currently working with an AV guy, and our goal is to get him really good results. Right. And that's something that's going to take a little bit of time. Right. Like we could potentially add 6 figures in pipeline for this guy, and that's our goal, right? And that's something that could be a really good grand slam offer once we get down the line of actually getting results for him, getting a testimonial. And then it's like, hey, we did this for another integrator. Check the zip code to see if you qualify in your area to get this system that scaled this integrator, right? And then that'll be a kind of a higher ticket niche play and directly hands-on, obviously. So that's a lot more of that's just another angle. That's another vertical that we can go down when the time comes. But then landscaping, obviously, we have that direct proof attributed to our own results in the niche. And it's a crazy story. Like we scaled it. We were in the trenches actually doing it. And that's one differentiator that we have from the competition, that our landscaping marketers is like, we were in the niche. We were in the trenches. We built a landscaping business ourselves from scratch with no experience in our trade, no reviews, no results, no proof at all with Facebook ads. So like, that's literally saying that like, if we can do this, dude, you can do it too. Your business is way more established than ours. And it's such a good risk reversal at the start. You know what I mean? I think it's just so much more fun to package it that way, because we can go crazy with the packaging, crazy with the headline, crazy with the ads, right? Because we can, like, we have that proof to back it up and that number to back it up. So I think that's a beautiful way to kind of get this thing hunched down and just really hunker down on this niche. We should have been running with this niche shit even early Q4 of 2025. And, we were still kind of actively in the landscaping situation, but we got a full year of landscaping experience and we know how to scale, right? And we just didn't want to be in the day to day. I've always wanted to start an online business. It's so much higher leverage than actually being in the trenches servicing B2C clients. I mean, you can make a lot of money doing that, especially if you're like pretty lean and mean, but we can just basically install the entire system that we used to get clients. And I mean, we literally have it all. We have so much more proof of us actually being on the job. So we could literally probably make B-roll ads of us on the job. Like we can showcase the ads that we actually ran to get clients in the VSL on our landing page. Like there's so much more proof we can show for this landscaping niche than if we were just going to go into AV integrators. That's one thing I've noticed across a lot of these funnels. These big players, they have a fuckload of proof. They have a bunch of testimonials on their page, and that's what we need to match them with. Video testimonials are what sells. So the fact that we have literally us as a case study is just so fucking huge for us to be able to actually get motion in this niche, start scaling the agency. Also realize planning days are valuable too. Today wasn't crazy on the execution side of things. You kind of have to always switch your perspective. Some days when you're not actively producing and not actively like putting results out there that you can physically see, it's almost like it's hard for you to feel like you did enough on the day. And that's something that I've kind of realized and tried to like instill in myself. Like it's okay to have a planning day. It's okay to kind of sit back, plan it out, make sure you're diligently taking your time to look into the market, understand what move you want to make, right? Like what move do you want to make on the chessboard? You're not just going to, right when someone else makes a move, you're not just going to pick up the piece right away and just throw it. Like just move the board right away. Like you're going to take your time to move that chess piece, right? And then once all the pieces are in place, you win the game, checkmate. So that's kind of what I've realized. Thinking through positioning first is huge rather than just executing blindly. It's kind of a hard thing that I've kind of been trying to instill in me lately because it's just hard to kind of switch from execution mode to planning mode, especially if your brain is kind of correlated to execution, outputs, seeing tangible things getting checked off your list. And like if I go to my agenda, like for today, I literally only checked off like 3 or 4 things because my agenda kind of switched, right? I tried to go in and create the VSL and do the funnel. I was going to do that all today. And then I just realized like there's no point in rushing this. It's almost like you're overwhelming your own brain when you do that. Decided not to make that a main focus today and just try to plan, try to visualize and just kind of think through things and how we're trying to position ourselves in this space. I also saw a very interesting video today. Serge Guattari, he has this platform called TryCook AI. It's essentially a platform that you can use AI to make money with. So he kind of describes it like it's AI, like it's just like ChatGPT or Claude, but it's something that actually helps you make money, right? It's not like a dopamine loop like what ChatGPT and Claude are. Like if you really think about it from a high level, like these platforms are just dopamine loops to get you engaged, to keep you engaged, right? To keep you communicating with them. But he's building a platform that's essentially connecting these different APIs. I don't know what exact model he runs from, but it's already trained on all his business knowledge and frameworks and essentially goes through the whole process of finding a market, doing competitor research, figuring out where you can stand out, all the way to launching your offer, connecting Go High Level, setting up all the systems to launch your offer with like the landing page build outs, literally everything in one tool. And then the thing that he's rolling out in the future is he's going to build essentially like a white label fulfillment platform. It's going to be like $10,000 for a license for like a whole year. But like people are going to, like agencies are going to be able to do their fulfillment with AI on that platform, which I think is fucking mind boggling to me, dude. I think that is literally the best software and coolest software that I've seen on the market to date. And if it helps systemize fulfillment for one thing and allow us to test multiple different offers in different spaces and get all that competitor data and market research instantly, it is literally a no-brainer to buy that software. So I know he's in the early stages of launching it, but if you guys haven't seen Serge, I would definitely recommend checking out his stuff. Serge Guattari, unbelievable, dude. Like that's going to change the game for agency owners, being able to fulfill with AI so they can just stack on as many clients as possible and also launch multiple verticals across different niches. Like you could literally be managing like 3 or 4 different offers with this platform. Because of how easy it is to build and scale an offer. You can literally build and launch an offer in probably under 2 hours with this platform. Unbelievable stuff. That's just a little note. I saw that. I was watching his 2-hour stream today. I'm probably going to tune into his stream tomorrow. He's actually going through a challenge of building that out right now. So I thought that was the coolest shit ever. I think SaaS plays is such a smart, like if you can build an all-in-one SaaS tool like that, like it's kind of like a Go High Level, right? It doesn't matter how good AI gets. it's not going to replace that. Right. I think it's just such a cool native system that he's built out. I would love to invest in it if he ends up taking it public. I think it's bootstrapped right now, but unbelievable. Unbelievable. And then also, I know some people were commenting on the video talking about using like Claude Code to build out a funnel. I was originally going to plan, because this is kind of how I use my web design. So I was using Google AI Studio to kind of build the UI, and then I would go into Claude Code to like dial it in, make it perfect. And then I would go host it in Versal. And I decided, like, we already have the Go High Level funnel infrastructure. Go High Level works fine. It's easy to edit. It's optimizable. Like, we already have a working template in Go High Level with all of our branding and all of our assets. Our domains are already connected in there. So I'm just going to stick with Go High Level. Like, I'd rather just have functionality right now over aesthetics, especially for like an MVP launch phase. So like, I don't really need it to be crazy, pretty, aesthetic. I know AI builders are way better and they can mark up way better designs and stuff. But like, really the only reason I would do that is just for a better design. But like, what does that even matter, right? As long as you have the right copy, the right messaging on the page, does the design even really matter? I don't think so. So I'm not going to be doing that, at least right now. I don't think it's high leverage for what we're trying to do. We already have the whole infrastructure and Go High Level that we need to actually launch the funnel. It's going to be a lot quicker. So decided not to do that. We're planning to try to get this launched here within the next 72 hours. So tomorrow is going to be basically finalizing the market research, getting the offer positioned, and then I'm going to build the VSL in Miro. And then from there, we're pretty much ready to go. And then we just got to get our ads dialed in. So the day after is essentially building the ad creatives and kind of getting the ads ready to launch and some of the back end. I'm going to be able to get the funnel done tomorrow, ideally, because that kind of ties into the offer structure and the market research along with the VSL. So that should be pretty easy to build out. I might have to go through that in deep detail with you guys, or I can just do a reflection kind of showing you what I ended up building at the end of the day tomorrow. And then if you are starting an agency, don't go broad immediately, niche down. We decided to go broad immediately. Got a client somehow. I guess it was just like our messaging and like how we portrayed ourselves with our offer was pretty solid. And then once you get into that niche, you dominate and you build a lot of proof in that space, like 20, 30 clients, then you can start expanding to adjacent niches, right? You could start, like for our example, like we're starting in landscaping only, right? And then we get results for Troy, we're going to go to AV integrators, right? And then once we get results for both those niches, it's like, okay, we can start expanding into just like all home services, right? As long as it's easy for us to scale, right? And then just have like a more qualifiable funnel built into that process. But obviously, you got to earn the right to broaden by niching down first, right? By getting that direct experience first. So tomorrow's plan at a high level, we're going to be doing the market research and swipe file. So we're going to deep dive into the competitors. I was already looking at them today. We're going to screenshot their ads, funnels, VSLs, kind of figure out what their offers look like and just reverse engineer what's working and then find better gaps and different gaps we can exploit based on our experience. So I'm going to probably do that whole structure kind of with Claude, building that out, making sure it understands our experience in this space, what we know about agencies. And then we're going to go not about agencies, but the landscaping niche. And then we'll be able to go into the swipe file, feed it in all that data. We can figure out exactly how we want to position ourselves and how our funnel should be dialed in. And then we're going to go into the offer, kind of finalize that. And then we're going to go into the VSL on Miro. It's going to be relatively quick. Depending on the funnel that we do, if we just do a VSL call funnel, it'll be a little longer, more into our process. If it's just going to be a growth strategy call, we'll just do like probably a minute or 2 minute VSL, kind of just pre-framing what the call is going to look like. It really depends. I don't know what kind of funnel we want to run yet. I mean, we could definitely do the 2 call close. It's probably going to have an easier opt-in rate. If we can make it really incentivizing to actually take that call, like you're going to get a fuck ton of value from this call, then I think that's definitely a good way to structure it, because our CP, our cost per lead or cost per book call is going to be probably in the somewhere of like the $150, $200, maybe even less. And then, as long as we have a decent enough qualification process before they book the call. So they do like a form, and then after they submit the form, they take them into the scheduler to actually book the call. So if we have a decent enough process in that survey/form that kind of qualifies them, gets their intent, then there's no reason why we shouldn't have a problem with actually running that type of offer. And then obviously getting our results on the landing page. We already have a decent one with our story about the landscaping side of things. And yeah, just putting all our results on the landing page, essentially, right? Like that's the goal. So, and then once we do that, yeah, those are pretty much the big 3. And then another thing I got to do tomorrow, I'm going to be following up with Troy. We're going to make sure we can get that GHL login. Co-founder, I believe he's going to be getting into the ad script and the ad creation part of things. So he's going to be more on the fulfillment back end side of things tomorrow for our client, Troy. And then, yeah, we're still looking at getting him launched by the end of next week, or the end of this week, I guess you could say, and moving into launch for them so we can get some good results, start learning about that industry a little bit more. Definitely some upsell potential there. So very confident in what we got going on that side of the boat. And then fulfillment planning, that's going to kind of tie into the offer. We already have the whole fulfillment framework basically built out for the AV niche, which is essentially the same process. The offer might tweak just a little bit. And then we're going to build out the funnel and go high level. That's another goal of mine tomorrow. Essentially, while we're doing the VSL, we can pretty much get that done. And then from there, that's pretty much it. And then we just got to update some of our profile messaging. That way it aligns with the niche we're actually going for. And then that's pretty much it. And then another thing I want to do as well is getting into some marketing strategies. I want to start making content at scale for this niche specifically, primarily just focusing on YouTube. I don't think it's high leverage enough to do Instagram. And if I'm going to do like short form, I'm just going to take other people's content and just basically green screen myself talking about that content over the top. I think that's the easiest way to just steal engagement from other people without copying their video, because you're essentially making it unique because you're in the video. So that's a plan there. We're going to take a look at that. Obviously, we want to stay focused. Energy was all right today, not as dialed as expected, more of a planning day. It was pretty good though, all in all. I'd say we were pretty locked in, pretty dialed on the process. Market research is valuable work, even though it feels like it isn't. I really wish I had TryCook AI right now so it could just do all the market research for me. That's what I'm thinking might be the play, low key, because that speeds up a lot. I think he's doing like a $97 like one-time offer to actually like use the market research side of the tool, which could be super beneficial for tomorrow. But yeah, today was planning, tomorrow's execution. We know exactly what we need to do to start the week. We are going to finish the market research, finalize the offer, build the Miro VSL, and get the funnel made up. And then obviously get our clients communicated with and getting everything structured on a daily basis. So we're ready for this week, get everything planned out, probably do a mastermind tomorrow night, and then we'll be tapping in for day 9. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or if you have any advice for me, hit me in the comments below. Have you ever been in a position where you need to switch niches? Any advice that you may have for where I'm at currently right now. Looking forward to seeing you guys for day number 9. This was day 8. We'll see you guys in the next one.